Everybody in the first world often takes education for granted. We all have grown up for at least the first 15 years or so of our lives going to school, and don't take the time to consider how other people have it. But today in our globalized world, education structures and systems of other nations, particularly in Europe, haven't followed a trend of assimilating to one international system. This is an exploration of how we, as Americans, have it compared to our European counterparts. I decided to interview a few of my European friends, varying from ages 18 to 25, from Germany, Italy, and the US, to try to get a broad scope on how Europe does education. And the results are so varied from the American system, with various pros and cons to each method. For one, the school day starts at different times each day depending on your scheduled classes, and many often take public transportation to school, as opposed to the iconic American yellow buses.
So I would get every morning the subway, then take the trolley.
I drive to school. Most kids in 12th grade drive to school. Public transportation is not real in America. No one uses it, and especially no one uses it to go to school.
And once they get to school, there's a lot of sitting in one room. Teachers often are the ones who change rooms while students stay in the same one all day.
We stay in the room and the teachers come around, but in some subjects like physics or chemistry or biology, we go to the teacher because it's a special room for it.
And the schools themselves are often very specific, either offering general classes or only offering science classes. For example, Italy's system requires you to pick a subject area high school, where the school you choose to attend reflects the range of classes you take.
So we have, after middle school, we actually have to pick up the school, the high school we want to attend. And there are different types of high schools, like the liceo, which are these which are more about general culture and university preparation. And there are different types. Some are more focused on sciences, so Liceo Scientific, this Liceo, the one I attended, or someone are more into languages, so there are linguistic Liceo, or there are like ones about social sciences, and what else? Oh, and classical studies like Latin and ancient Greeks.
Regardless of school, language remains a staple of a European education, with some children learning English as young as kindergarten equivalent in the US.
We have to talk German, but then we have also English. Everyone learns English, and then we can choose between Latin and French.
Classes were all in Italian because we are in Italy, except the English one, where the teacher would have taught us in English.
Many Europeans have 3 or more languages under their belt just by the end of high school, while Americans need to go out of their way and in some cases spend tons of money just to take more than one foreign language.
In middle school, you have to take a language for at least 2 years, but after that, it's really up to you. I decided to take language all 5 years, but they do not press it. I feel like they definitely need to spend more money and time in the foreign language department because the kids deserve more. And honestly, I believe that students should start learning a language in first grade, second grade, but we really start it in 8th grade and 9th grade when people don't care.
Outside of school, I asked about extracurriculars and sports. It seems as though the general consensus for Europeans was that these are either non-existent in schools or they're only offered through private clubs in the community, meaning students from all schools get together based on one interest in a specific area.
So my high school doesn't have sports teams, so I don't play for my school. We only play for clubs here in Germany.
Well, no, we don't have those. I mean, you can do it. I mean, you can do something else in the afternoon, your free time, but it's basically up to you. They don't really provide any kind of extracurricular activities.
The opposite, we know in America, is true, with most people taking part in after-school activities that are almost run by the school.
Penn has a lot of extracurriculars. I'm involved with theater, German club, Spanish club, International Friendship Club. I know there's a Model UN, and I'm also in chorus, which has after-school rehearsal sometimes. So most days you can catch me after school for about 2 hours doing work for my extracurriculars.
To wrap up this research, I asked the students to list their likes and dislikes and rate their school on a scale of 1 to 5. The results were varied.
3, 4 stars. My school wasn't that bad. It was an actual good school, one of the best high schools in my town, so I can't really be upset.
My high school experience, I would say, is probably a 2 or 3. And those stars are only because of myself. I feel like the school district didn't really help me that much.
So I would say it's like 3 to 4 because my school isn't that big, so I like it. It's not like North Penn.
In the end, each country has its own way to educate its populace. Each method behind a country's education in these comparisons has its positives and negatives. In the end, the question seems to boil down to preference. People from each system, based on the interviews, both wanted aspects of foreign systems implemented into their domestic ones. And after taking a look at the world's list of best education systems, it's time we upgrade our own and listen to students' concerns to make education reflect the will of the students who in fact are the future of our world.